Hey guys, and welcome to another video. And today we're talking about Zac, and especially Zac in the mid-season update. So the gameplay you're seeing right now is I have recorded previously. I will just say before I start this game, I haven't played Zac in months, and I did some weird stuff. I built a little bit of an AP. I took Ignite instead of Flash. Overall, it went pretty well. We made some pretty big mistakes too, but it works. I won't tell you the ending yet, but overall we played okay. So I hope you enjoy the gameplay, but the focus obviously lies on Zac in the mid-season update. So most people will have read about the abilities and everything, and you can already see a lot of PvE content, so you can see how everything works already. Obviously, PvE is different from the normal servers. There's a lot of weird stuff in every game, not just the new Zac jungle, but probably like a lot of other stuff that's going on that doesn't make a lot of sense. So you don't know how much you can trust it, and I will say again, I said it in the last video about Rakan. All of the titles are this is OP. It's probably not. I haven't played it obviously, but we'll take a look at it. I have the abilities right here. I'm not gonna show it to you because I can't. If you want to take a look at it, you can obviously. It's really easy to find. And if you want someone analyzing all of the mid-season update, I might do some more on it, I might not, but I would recommend go to the channel of Hussy Games. He's a diamond player and he can explain a lot of stuff very well. He knows a lot of stuff, and he has done a video on the whole mid-season update. I can't remember how good of a video that was, like especially that video, but I trust him and his judgments very well, and I would recommend you do the same. But you should go and find out for yourself, I would say. So let's start. The passive is the same for those who don't know it. When Zac hits an ability on an enemy champion, he sheds a chunk of goo that can be reabsorbed to restore health. And upon taking fatal damage, Zac splits into 4 bloblets. That doesn't seem like a word to me, but sure. That attempts to recombine, and after a short delay, Zac revives with health based on the health of the surviving bloblets. So yeah, it's the same, but I will just say it for everyone who doesn't know it. Then the Q is the first ability they did change. So the old ability was that he just strikes his arms in a line, and it has a slow. It has some good damage if you actually upgrade it. It's a skill shot obviously, but I guess all of his abilities are. So yeah. By the way, I will also say what we're gonna talk about is the abilities, what I think will happen, and I'm gonna spend some time talking about Zac in other lanes, because Zac has been played in top lane. People have probably thought about some other roles like AP Zac mid lane, even Zac support. Like, Zac is a very versatile champion and you can do so much with him, so I will be talking about that too. And the gameplay I recorded is about 40 minutes, I believe, so we have all the time. I'm not gonna talk about 40 minutes, but at least I know I can if I need to. So yeah, the new Q is that one of his arms stretches and it grabs the first enemy hit, and it damages them, slowing them. Then Zac's next basic attack gains bonus range, and if Zac attacks a different enemy, he will throw both targets towards each other, dealing damage in an area if they collide. So to say it a little bit more simply, you grab an enemy, you grab another enemy, and you smash them together, which deals AoE damage. So this is a very interesting ability. It's a little bit weird. So it's a form of CC that could be useful in team fights. For example, you use your Q on whoever. It doesn't matter. You can use it on a tank because it's a skill shot and it's get blocked by the first enemy. So you just hit it on whoever. It really doesn't matter. But then you can use your auto attack, which is, well, you have to get in range, but it gives you extra range, so it should be pretty easy. And it's not a skill shot. You can easily hit it on an AD carry or whoever you want. So you can use it to pick off important targets, get some really easy CC, follow up with more CC and damage, and you get a kill. So that should work. Now, it does say enemy, and it does not say enemy champion. So that means, I guess that you can use it on champions. I'm not sure about this. I probably should look it up, but technically it should. So that means it will be useful in ganks, but obviously it will mostly be useful in ganking the bot lane. So you can smash the AD carry and the support together. Makes the most sense to me. You can also use it to counter gank. For example, your top laner is getting ganked, and you come in, you smash the enemy top laner and jungler together, and your top laner can run away. So it should be useful. I don't know. It will actually be good with the clear because it deals AoE damage. So yeah, it should work. So it's a nice ability as long as you hit your first Q, obviously, but also you need to be in range to get an auto attack, and I don't know how that will work out. Okay, so let's move on to the W. It didn't change anything. Let's move on to the E. They also didn't change anything about the E. Okay, so the R is the next important one. So what happens is you become flat on the ground. It looks a little bit like Vladimir Pool, and it channels, and the more it channels, the further you can jump. And if someone is standing on top of you, or multiple people, you can take them in your jump. So you can throw them into turrets, into the fountain, into anything you want, as long as they are standing in it and it's in range. So that's a big difference. The Q is different as an ability, but it has the same goal. It deals AoE damage, it has some CC, it's a skill shot. Where the R is like a really big change. So that's basically the abilities. You can take a look at it for yourself if you want to. I would recommend to do it if you haven't, because it's pretty important to know all this stuff in time, especially when the patch will actually arrive. You should know by then what the abilities do, so you are able to play against it. Yeah, and then we get what will happen to Zac. So first of all, right now Zac is a tank jungler that has a good amount of early game pressure, I guess, with his E, but he needs the levels to get more range on his E, so he can jump further, he can do more interesting ganks like jump over walls, and that he's a very versatile jungler. He can gank from anywhere, but he does need a few levels to be able to do that. Now, the other thing is that you actually kind of need to hit your R. It's the most important ability he has. It's more important than his ultimate, especially his old ultimate, right? So yeah, that's basically Zac right now. Has carry potential in the early game, kind of in the late game if you play it correctly, like if you get a 5-man knockout, 5-man R, everything like that. Obviously you're kind of carrying, but you're not a damage carry. You need other people to do damage, unless you go full AP, which I wouldn't recommend. So then we can move on to what will happen after changes. Now the first thing is obviously Zac Jungle, and Zac Jungle, I think the clear, nothing really changed. The passive is the same, which is very important. The W is what most people start with, and it's very useful for your clear. The E is the same, which sometimes you want to use. It helps with your clear, but you don't have your E for a pretty long time. Obviously, that can be a problem. And the Q, it still does the same. It is CC with AoE damage, so it shouldn't make a big difference in your clear. Obviously, if they change some of the numbers, make the E and W like a little bit weaker because the R might be stronger, that might hurt his clear a little bit. So we'll have to see about that. Then I guess we can talk about the ganks. Ganks will still probably start the same. You hit your E or you miss your E, and then it will be interesting because what you can do is E straight into R. That can mean saving people or getting the enemy into your turret, and it will be pretty powerful. That does require you to hit your E. That will be very important, and it also requires them to not flash out as soon as they can, because you need to channel your R. So it does take some time. It gives them some time. In that time it's best to keep them CC'd, and I don't know if your E will be able to do that long enough. Your Q might help, but I think if you E you get a free Q, but then your Q doesn't CC them any longer, I would say. E has probably longer CC than the Q, so you can channel your R while you use Q, so there's not really a point in that combo. So it will be important for your teammate to have some CC or keep them busy. Maybe you don't channel your R that long, that could work. No, that's obviously the basic stuff, like just E in, use your combos and stuff like that. Use your R if you can to get them into the turret. It will be pretty powerful. So now the point is, what if you don't have your R? Now you have a combo. If you hit your E, it should be fine. You have more and better CC. We don't know about the damage yet, not really at least. But obviously he's a tank, he's not supposed to do a lot of damage. Now you can build a little bit AP as I did in this video. And your early game ganks will be pretty powerful, so I think you do have good options, and you still have the really long range jump, so you still have really versatile ganks that you can come from anywhere. That's still the same. Now the thing is, if you hit your E, I actually think your ganks have become a lot more powerful with and without your R, because the thing is, if you jump in now and you miss your E, you can get the slow from your Q. Might not be enough, probably not, depends on how low they are and who they are. But like if they have any movement abilities like a jump or anything, they will probably get away. They might even turn on their lane opponent if it's like an AD carry, and they could kill him. Like without your E, you're not all that useful. Now the one thing you can do is flash and R them into your team, but it's not the easiest thing to do. It doesn't have a really big range, and it's not even all that much. Like it's just a little bit of CC, it's just a small knockback, won't do that much. So your E right now is very important. Now they obviously changed that a little bit. It's not all about the E anymore. So right with the changes, if you miss your E and let's first talk about the Q. If you miss your E and you're close enough, you should be able to hit your Q, and that is some solid form of CC. Like, you can actually throw them together. That's pretty big, and in some situations you might be able to like get a minion on one side of you and an enemy on the other side while he's actually walking to his turret. You can actually just get them back to you. You don't have to just stop them moving, you can actually get them towards you if you do it right. So it should be pretty powerful if you use it correctly. Then the R is obviously the other big thing. If you miss your E, on some champions you might be able to get to actually channel your R, but you can also just use it immediately, and I believe it's just a knock-up or something like that. It doesn't do as much, but it's still useful. So that's basically it. Then team fights. Zac is always very useful in team fights because he's a tank. He has a lot of CC, quite a bit of damage sometimes. Like, I have done it in this game multiple times that I just went on the AD carry and I didn't kill him most of the time. I believe I killed him once, but I knew my team didn't need me and now they don't have an AD carry, so it works. Like, I'm actually a threat to that AD carry, so he has to back off and I can chase him away, then go back to my teammates, help them out, and they don't have an AD carry in the whole fight. So you are actually a damage threat sometimes, if you're strong enough. Now, your R is pretty big, your ult R is pretty big in team fights because it's a 5-man knockup and you don't have to hit it on 5 men immediately. You can chase them and still get it, and it keeps doing damage too, so it's pretty useful, pretty big AoE damage. Your W is AoE, your Q is AoE, it's slow too, so then obviously you have your E, which is great to engage, but it's also, if you're already in a team fight, it's still very useful because you can get like 3 to 5 man knockup and you should be able to win a fight if you have any form of damage. So they changed that a little bit. Now you still have your E, which is still very useful. As I said, your Q, you can actually get important targets probably very easily, which is nice. And that means if you like use your Q first and then your E, you have a good amount of CC on them and they should be dead. Now the thing is that they really changed your R, and we'll see how it turns out, but it might be in a lot of situations that you can't really channel it. Now, some games are just chaos and madness and you might be able to, but a lot of the time you won't. So it's really important that you think about it, because if you channel, like it's like Nunu R, if you channel it and they all get out of it, it doesn't do anything. If you use it immediately, it only does a little bit of damage. So they might actually, maybe that makes him a little bit weaker in team fights. Like if he can get a good R, it could do a lot of stuff. You never know. It's only, I'm guessing, and I'm not sure about that, but I'm guessing they aren't, I'm looking at it right now. It might not be, but it will be hard to hit them and do damage to them while they are in the air. So if you get a 5-man jump, you put them in a different place and the fight continues the same. So that shouldn't be too big. Now if you get a 3-man thing, let's say you get mid laner, top laner and jungle, and you jump with them over a wall, so the AD carry and support are left with your full team. That could be very useful. Just split the enemy team, that might work. But yeah, we'll have to see about that. Obviously, I'm just thinking about stuff that could happen, that could be true. None of this is actually tested. Nobody really knows yet. So we'll have to see later on how it goes. So that's all about Zac jungle. Then we can move on to Zac in lanes. So his new abilities make him weaker and stronger in laning phase, and that means his R makes him stronger, I would say, and his Q definitely makes him weaker. Now, if you ever have played Zac top lane, and I have played quite a lot of it, and you can do different builds. You can go a little bit of AP, you literally can't go full AP. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't work, it's not good. But you can build like 1 or 2 AP items and go full tank after that if you want to. It gives you a lot more carry potential, and you can snowball pretty hard against certain champions, because you will be tanky anyway. So with lane Zac, most of the time you upgrade your Q because it's good AoE clear against minions, it's good poke, it deals a lot of damage if you upgrade it. It's actually very surprising. So yeah, it's really strong. Now they changed the Q, and the new Q is useful in a lot of situations, but it's probably less strong in top lane right now. Like we'll have to see, but it's CC and it's less damage, I would say, but we don't know yet how much damage this will do. But if they take away the damage the old Q does, it might hurt top lane Zac quite a lot. Now the other thing is obviously the R, and the old R isn't all that great in laning phase. Like you can escape ganks with it, stuff like that. It can be useful, it's some damage, it's some CC, it will help you, but a lot of other abilities will do more. Now, we'll have to see how it turns out, and it's really about if you can get a good R. So Zac in lane will obviously be trying to get you on the turret. So you jump in with your E when they're kind of close to the turret, and then you channel your R at least a little bit so you can get them into turret range, and that's basically it. That will be the main tactic, I would say. If top lane Zac becomes a thing again, like it's a thing that you can play right now, but it's not popular in any way. Where it used to be a bigger thing at least. So yeah, if it becomes a thing again, that will be the main tactic, to just try and get people on the turret. Your Q might actually help with that a little bit, or at least keep them in turret range. So yeah, it could be powerful, could not be. Less poke, more all-in potential, I would say. That's basically gonna be it, and I will definitely be trying it, but we'll have to see. And we get to AP Zac, and I would say they nerfed AP Zac. They probably nerfed AP Zac. E and W are the same, maybe some different numbers. Q we don't know yet, but less poke, less reliable damage, I would say. And the R is more CC oriented than damage oriented. It's not about dealing damage. Now it's still, again, if you can get them into turret range it will work, but it's not very reliable probably. So I would say Zac overall will probably deal less damage. He will still have a lot of impact but deal less damage, so building damage on him will be less useful. It's as simple as that. That's why I think AP Zac won't become a thing. Obviously a lot of people will be trying it, and probably including me, but I don't think it will become a thing. So last one is, and I'm obviously not talking about AD carry, but it's support. So support is heavily dependent on the meta. I'm someone who really likes healing supports and like the old school tank supports like Alistar and Braum, where right now and like the last year, it has mainly been about pro AP supports. So from Saya, Syra, right? That's the new champion. Okay, so Syra and Malzahar and Brand, like all of those picks, I don't know if they're really supports. Like they have been played as supports. They are obviously supports, but I wouldn't call them supports because it's not their purpose to support, to actually heal and defend their AD carry. It's just their purpose to kill the enemy. So that makes them less of a support, I would say. And I think that Zac support needs to be against those tanks or against those healers, because he's obviously not ranged, and I do think he has a lot of all-in potential. Even more now, like he might be a good pick against like a Braum or an Alistar, like stuff like that. I think that could actually work, but if you are against stuff that pokes you all the time, it won't really be useful. It won't work, I would say. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be all for this video. That's all I have to say about Zac. I hope it helped someone understand it a little bit more, and I hope you enjoyed. Now the video or the game obviously hasn't ended yet. We still have some time to go. So what I will probably do is use the ending of this game on the next video, where I will be talking about something else. I'm not sure what. Maybe Maokai, maybe just all of the other changes together. We'll see about it. And so if you do want to see the ending of the game, you can come back and there will be another video where that's what you will get to see. So again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.